Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a real simple pose animation for the feet so that those of you who are going to be making shoes for the MyStar avatars, you'll know how to make a real super simple animation that you'll need to make because we're not using multiple feet that have set heel heights. We leave that up to you, the designer, to decide how high of a high heel you want to make, so that you're not constrained to just certain, high heel sizes, heights. And so, okay, so before I do that, I do want to go over a couple of quick little things. Okay, the feet are identical between the athletic and the curvy. Where they do differ, though, however, is right here where they connect. The athletic has the same vertex position as the Linden Lab default avatar does. But the curvy avatar, I changed the positions a little bit here and there for this edge loop up here, and probably this edge loop right here, just slightly, because I just couldn't stand the way Linden Lab's vertex positions were. So any shoes that are basically below here, this edge loop here, you can wear on either the curvy avatar or the athletic avatar. Those shoes will be interchangeable. But if you have a pair of shoes that you have straps or whatever that come up here, you're going to have to adjust them and have one pair for the athletic, one pair for the curvy. And so it's just a minor thing, but you have to be aware of it. Like, see, these shoes, they'll work on either avatar because the feet, other than that, are identical and the weights are identical. It's just the vertex position up here and along here, this second edge loop, I think it was slightly different. So these shoes would work for either or. Okay. And because we're not using multiple feet, forcing people to wear multiple feet at one time, it lowers lag. So it cuts down lag and gives you, the designer, maximum creativity for you to decide how high of a high heel do you want to do, or low, And so, okay. So, but we're here to make an animation. So in order to have the foot stay in the proper rotation for the toes and the ankle, you need to make a really quick, easy pose for the feet. And so that's what this video is for. Okay. So what we need to do is you need to go MyStar, and you need to go My Animate LT, generate skeleton. You can click there and say yes, and you can say .anim or anim. I would do anim because anim, you can set the priority of the animation higher than BBH. So, and we're going to say no rig because we're going to be rotating these bones manually. And you see the feet have been rotated to the flat position. And I'm going to show the bones joints there, right there. Okay. So we're going to make a really simple 2-frame animation. Okay, I'm going to shorten the timeline so you can see the individual frames better. So start on frame 1. So you just click on the frame with your left mouse button, frame 1. And I know the rotations for these shoes. They're a rotation of 40 on the ankle, a rotation of -54 on the M foot, and the toes are rotation is 0. Okay, so the thing you got to know about animations is you have to have, you want the bones in a different rotation than what the finished bones are going to be. So with everything at 0, the ankles will be a different rotation for the pose, and so will the M foot bones, but the toes are not. And so you want to rotate the toes, and so I'm just going to select the toe bones and I'm going to rotate them, and then we'll just make this -60. Okay, so that they have been rotated. Okay, And then what you want to do is you want to, on the animation skeleton, hold down the Shift key and hit the plus sign, or click on the plus sign with the left mouse button, and we need to select all 6 bones. So if you hold down the Control key, you can click on the first one, hold down the Control key, and then just select them one at a time. And now we have all 6 bones selected. Switch your thing from here to animation, go to key. We're going to open up the options for set key. We are just using the default settings, so we'll click reset and you click apply. And as soon as I clicked apply, a red line showed up on frame 1. That indicates that those bones that we have selected now have a key. We have recorded their rotations. And so now we can go to frame 2, just click on frame 2, and now we can set that -60 back to 0. And now we can select the ankle bones, and we need to rotate them to 40. Like I said, you'll want to make a note of your rotations on a notepad or just a piece of paper. But instead of rotating it on 40 like we did before, because animation's Y is up instead of Z, we're going to put it on Z. So 40 and hit enter. Okay, and now we're going to pick the M foot bones, and we're going to rotate Z again to -54. Okay, and now that's back to the position, and we're on frame 2, and I could left click on the ankle, and I could hold down the Shift key and select all the bones in between. And so I just hold the Shift key down, left click mouse button, select all of them, and now I can hold down the Control key and deselect these 2 bones, which we don't need. So that's a fast way of selecting them instead of selecting them individually. And so now we can hit apply again, and we've created a 2-frame animation, and that's really all you have to do to create the animation. Now I'm going to show you a couple other quick things about animation, just so that you know that they're possible. So if you want to, lots of times I do a 4-frame animation. I've just gotten into a habit of doing 4 frames, but 2 frames will work just fine. But if you wanted to copy frame 2, I have the bones selected, and if I right click, not left click, and then go left click on copy, and then if I go to say frame 4, I click on the left mouse button with frame 4 to select it, right mouse click, come here to paste, and then left mouse click on paste. I have just copied that key from there to there. Okay, so now I have a 4-frame animation. But 2 would have worked just fine. Okay, so now that we have our animation made, doesn't matter where you have left off on here. You don't, I usually just go back to frame 1, but that's just out of habit. You don't have to. And then if you come back to here, Maya Star Animation Export, we browse to where we want to save it. So we're going to go desktop, and then I'm just going to click save. You don't type anything in here. Okay, and now you give it its name, and that will be heel height 01. You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to set the priority. This is where we set the priority. Set it overrides everything else. BVH, I think highest priority is 4, so we're actually setting it higher than a BVH would be able to. Okay, and you want the start frame to be frame 1, and you could go end frame. You could go frame 2 if you wanted to, or you could go frame 4. But you need to have frame 1 in there. If you went frame 2 to 4 or 2 and 3, there's no differences between those 2 frames, and nothing would really get exported out, and nothing would really upload. So you need to have frame 1 in there so that there's an actual change in in the animation. These are just the default ease in, ease out. I find those to be fine. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a static pose, which is really just a loop animation. So you select loop, and now we can say, you can say frame 2 in, frame 2 out, or we could have said frame 3 in, frame 3 out, or frame 4 in, 4 out. You could go frame 3 then 4, and it would be a 2-frame animation plane, but that's really a waste. So I just have it looped the same frame, and that's a static pose. This classic avatars, you don't have to worry about this. It's just for the Linden Lab default avatar. So you don't have to worry about those. We only did rotation animation. We didn't do translation animation, so you do not turn this on. Include joint translations. Since the avatar is, you're not animating the avatar to move in 3-dimensional space, you do not turn on global avatar position. Now I always leave it, especially since this is such a short animation of just 4 frames. I leave it on resample every frame. In Second Life, the animation time limit is not actually set by times or frames. It's set by how large is the file. So if you wanted to make your file smaller, you can have it set to say 2, and it will resample every other frame, and that would make the file size considerably smaller. Or 3, or every 3rd frame, and that would allow you to make an animation that runs a lot longer before it loops back onto itself, or before it stops playing, if you only have it, if you're not doing a looped animation. But just since it's just a 4-frame animation, I just leave it at 1, so you know you're not going to mess anything up. Okay, and I'm going to drag this down a little bit more so we can see export anim. Okay, so we got all that set. You just click export anim. You saw it flicker. What it did was it actually ran through the animation on each bone and recorded each bone separately that had a keyframe on it. So 6 bones. It actually went through it 6 times, but it was running so fast because it's only 4 frames. So it didn't take very long. Okay, so that is how you make the animation. And in another video that I do, I'll show you how to upload the animation, and I'll show you the script that goes in the shoes and the second animation that resets the feet back to normal. And so, awesome. So that's it for this video. Hopefully we'll see you in the next video, and where we'll go over those other details. Have a great day. Bye-bye. See you in the next video.